All right, what's up, good people? We're getting ready to go into part 2 of the series, Let Me Be Great. This is part 2 of the series, Let Me Be Great. Before I go into part 2, I want to ask you all that if you have not checked out part 1 of the Joseph story in the Bible, which begins in Genesis chapter 37, I did a video on it, part 1, Let Me Be Great. It's somewhere on the timeline. So if you haven't checked that out, don't be one of those people who go see part 2 of a movie or part 3 and so on and so forth, but you haven't seen part 1, because you're probably going to miss out on some references that I'll be making, and it's going to be germane or it's going to be useful and helpful in it as we go along in the series. So if you haven't checked out part 1, go check out part 1, Let Me Be Great, and we're going to be moving into part 2 of Let Me Be Great. So we're at the point in Joseph's stories where his brothers are getting ready to conspire a plan against him. If y'all remember in part 1, we ended it right when the brothers are getting ready to devise this plan against Joseph. Now in part 2 of Let Me Be Great, we're going to be exploring a couple of things. One, we're going to be exploring how everything that happens in your life has a purpose for happening, and it has to happen. And also how just because you have a dream and God has favor on your life, it doesn't mean that you're not going to go through some bad things or some things that you just don't understand. But as always, before we get into the meat of this subject today, I need you to do a couple of things for me. I need y'all to simply take the time out to smash the like button. If you like what's going on and you're getting something out of it, if you really support the channel, share it. And then if you want to leave some insight or some comments, you know I welcome those. If you're watching me on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe and hit the notification bell. Like I always say, it doesn't cost anything. If you're really a supporter, show me. Thank you all, and let's get into the video. Now, Joseph's brothers was going out to do some work on this particular day, and Joseph stayed back with the father Jacob. But Jacob sends Joseph to go out to the field to check on his brothers and the work that they doing. Now, when Joseph's brothers seen him coming afar off, they saw him approaching, and they said to themselves, "Here comes that dreamer." See, that's another thing people do when they hating on you. They don't even call you by your name. They usually call you by that thing that's making them mad or upset or jealous of you. "Oh, here comes big money." "Oh, there go the preacher man." Or, "Look at her, Miss got it going on." So they say to themselves, "Here comes the dreamer." And they say to themselves, amongst themselves, "Let us kill him and get rid of him." Now you know that's got to be nobody but Satan. These brothers wanting to kill their own brother simply because he had a dream. For no other reason. Now, they were all set to do this when one of the brothers suggests, "Hey, let's get rid of him, but let's not kill him, because then we're going to have his blood on our hands."
Ain't that something? A hater with a conscience.
Now, you hate me so much that you want to get rid of me, yet you don't want my blood on your hands. Now, we can look at this one or two ways. One, we could say that this particular brother has some kind of care for his brother. Or we can see where God is clearly intervening here. Now, I choose to see God intervening here because we know, for one, that all the brothers agree, whether or not they want to kill him or not, they agree they want to get rid of him. So I know it isn't because the brother loves him so much that he suggests going this alternate route. Rather, when God has a purpose for you, he will let the enemy take hold of any and everything in your life except for your life, because he alone owns the rights to it. See, and because God did give Joseph those dreams and this purpose has not been fulfilled yet, Satan cannot take him out. So the brothers proceed to strip him of his clothing. See, they had already been wanting to do that anyway, seeing as how the father had already made him this special coat. And they threw him in a pit in the wilderness to die. So let me get this straight. You strip a man naked and leave him in a pit to die simply because he had a dream? So let's do our checklist. 1, they plotted to kill. 2, then they strip him naked, steal, in hopes of doing number 3, destroying his dream. Now, if you watched the first video, you remember me explaining that these are 3 sure signs that you're dealing with an attack from Satan, because he's coming to steal, kill, and destroy. But if I was doing a checklist, we're missing one. And we're going to get to that now. So now as the brothers sit around laughing and probably joking, entertaining themselves, no doubt probably proud of what they had just done, one of the brothers gets a bright idea and says, what would it profit us for us to just get rid of him and throw him in a ditch when we could sell him and get some money for him as a slave? Now this looks bad, y'all. Not only do they agree to do this thing, but they strip him naked, throw him in a ditch, and then get the bright idea to sell Joseph as a slave. It don't look too good for our boy Joseph. Now when they do this thing, reality sets in. What are we going to tell our father? See, Satan often makes you jump all the way out there. And then once you've jumped all the way out there and done something so egregious, now you gotta cover this thing up, because Satan's not gonna stand before you and take the punishment. Satan's not gonna let the blame be put on him. So now reality kicks in and they gotta cover this with their father. So what do? They take his clothes, tear them apart, kill an animal, use the animal's blood to dip the clothing in, and this is what they show to the father, as if Joseph had been devoured by a beast in the wilderness. They had done this awful thing, and now they had to lie. Now, isn't this what Satan loves to do? To make God's children liars, like him who is the father of lies? That checks the last box to know that you're dealing with Satan and you've made a deal with the devil. Once Satan has made you get out of your character and get out of your godship, the finishing results to this masterpiece that he's trying to create is to make you a liar, because he himself is a liar and the father of deception. So when Jacob, the father, sees his son's torn clothes and sees the blood on it, he perceives that his son has been devoured in the wilderness by an animal, and he begins to grieve. But not just any old grieving like we do today, where you mourn somebody's death today and tomorrow life goes on. Jacob tells his sons that I will not only mourn my son today, but I will mourn his passing until I die. Now imagine that you were so jealous of the favor your father had for one of your brothers that you plotted to get rid of him, thinking that this would take care of your problems, only to find out that the father's love was so deep for the child that he's gonna be miserable for his whole life. So every day will be a constant reminder that the thing that he loved the most is not there. And also, you didn't care about any of the people you hurt, and especially Joseph and your father, because he has this deep love for your brother. This is part 2 of Let Me Be Great. Now, our antagonist in this story, Joseph, has got a long story to go, and he's got a lot more life to live. And this is just part 2 of Let Me Be Great. Like I said, if you haven't watched part 1, you need to catch up, because part 3 is on the way. Y'all be blessed.